Now, to keep in step with the basics, we're going to do another fairly simple design. This one has a few more objects in it, and we're going to add a little bit more editing features to it afterwards and see if we can transform it into something a little bit different than its original artwork. But we will do it with the SVG file as well as the raster file. So we're going to see which way is quicker. And in this circumstance, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but you'll have to wait and see. So we're going to bring in another piece of artwork that is only one color. The first thing we need to do is have a file on our screen so that we get our working area. And I do have it set to cotton, and that is within the recipes. This is the default. This will give me just enough underlay, and I can always change the recipe later on if I want to do something different. So let's go in and grab our backdrop, and this time we're going to do this leaf design. And it has a few more leaves in it, but what we're going to do is we are going to grab that artwork, select it, right click, open the properties, and let's make this 2.5 inches in height. So we're just going to make it quite a bit smaller, and again we'll just sort of reduce the opacity a bit so that we can see it on screen. And then I'm going to just bring it into the area so that I can get it. So I've just used my pen, which is my space bar, and I'll let go. Now here I'm going to go to my 6:1 scale, and if I go out a little bit and just look at this, just so you know what I'm going to do with this design is I'm going to do these pieces probably from the bottom up. So I'll start with this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this will be number 8. So there's going to be 8 objects in here. And I'm going to see kind of how fast I can go. I'm only going to use 2 different tools within this, a classic satin and a run, because I know they're probably going to be the fastest tools for this job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my 6:1 scale. Again, with the ease of zooming and with the way these tools are laid out, it's going to be super simple. So let's just grab that. I'm going to use my classic satin, and I'm going to choose a green color. So let's just choose a green, and I'm going to start putting my points down, and I'll just go point, counterpoint, and I'll create all of these objects. Again, I don't need to really worry if the artwork is 100% perfect. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to enter that, and then you can see we'll keep it on 3D. Now I know that all of my auto features are on, my smart join, my trims, so I'm just going to just keep going. Make sure that I do this piece right here, and I will back up if I don't like one of those. So if I did put one down that I didn't think was really suitable, I can always back up a little bit. That's going to automatically join. Now I need to get to this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the number 1 key on my keyboard, and I'm just going to come right over here and hit enter. And now I have a traveling stitch that's right there. Now if I look at my sequence view, you can always see your sequence of your objects as you're creating them. So you can see the order. It's kind of handy to have those up just so you know you're on the right path. And then my hotkey, my number 2 key, is back to my classic satin. So really, I don't even have to use my widget. I can save time by just using my hotkeys on my keyboard. And now I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit number 1. I'm going to go right from here to here, hit enter. I'm going to space and go up. I'm going to hit number 2, and I'm going to do this little piece here. So the ease of moving around this design and kind of doing it in the order that I want it to sew, making sure I have all my traveling stitches is super easy. And I'm just toggling between a couple of buttons within my software, and it just makes it so friendly. Actually, I got to go back to here. Let's just hold back, because I didn't hit number 2. So now I have number 2 active. And I'm going to do this piece. And enter, hit number 1, and we're going to travel right to this point. Then I'm going to hit number 2. I'm going to pan a little bit, and then I'm going to put my points down and just continue to follow the artwork. Enter, number 1. Just travel right to there. I want to make sure I have my traveling stitches. Go to number 2, continue this path, and I now have this object finished. Hit that one, and I don't even need to do anything because I know it's going to automatically smart join. So I'll just stay on number 2, and let's do this little piece and come all the way down. I'm just doing curve points. This I'll do a straight, 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 and then go back to curves. And the wonderful thing about panning, I can just pan my way through while I am in the midst of using the same tool. So that is super friendly. And I'll just go all the way down to the end here and do something like that and hit enter. So that is it. I mean, that whole design was done. Took a matter of, 3-4 minutes, something like that. So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to hide my backdrop. So there's our design. And now what we'll do is we're going to bring in the imported vector art, and I will bring that in, and I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to look at that piece of artwork, which I can see at the bottom here. It's actually in black. But if I look at the properties, it is filled and unfilled. So I'm going to unfill it just so that I can see the outlines. And let's do this. I'm going to change it to the same color. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to transform it and make it 2.5 inches. So it's going to be the exact same height as the other one. And I can bring that here. And if I want to, because I know I'm going to do this later anyways, I could come in and I could flip this artwork horizontally so it's the other direction. So there's my artwork, and now all I have to do is I have to go in and actually start to edit all these pieces. This is where I know for certain it's going to be easier to manually digitize this with the the stitch brushes that I have, as opposed to going in and manipulating the artwork first. But I'm going to show you how to do that, because if you get SVG files and you want to utilize those, you could lock it down and just manually digitize over it. But we'll show you how to do that so you have an idea of when to and when not to, use either or pieces of artwork, and what you can manually do and what you can automatically do. So now I'm going to go to my sequence view, and I'm just going to make sure that I kind of zoom in there a little bit. And I do see actually over here, I see some random little stitches. I don't know why that's there. So I'm just going to delete that one and see if nothing happens. I don't think anything happened on the other side. That's one good thing in your sequence view. You can kind of see if you get random stitches that aren't really necessary. But within my artwork, I am going to go to my slicing tool. And this is where I'm going to start slicing this, so I can slice right here, 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 and there. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start slicing. That's left, 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 and then right. And then I'm going to go here, left, 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 and right. And then here, and I just continue on. And oops, I got to make sure I go left, 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 and right. And here, just putting left points down, and then a little right one after to enter it. I can see it did something funny in there, but I'm going to fix that. That's the problem with using the vector art. Sometimes, as we mentioned in previous lessons, it can sometimes require more editing than seems worthwhile, but we also have the option sometimes to do things much faster than manually digitizing. So there I broke that apart pretty easily. Now I just have to go into each of these, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to start editing. So I'm going to edit this one, and I'm going to see if I can move these points. And that one, I could even delete that one. Sometimes the less points, the better. So I'm just going to go through all of these, and let's just get rid of that one, delete it. And I see 2 points right on top of each other, so I don't want that. So we're going to delete that one. This one looks like a bit of a mess, so I got to figure out what happened there. And I can see that there is a piece there all by itself. So let's see that piece right here. That's where it is. Let's delete that one altogether. And now let's go back here, and we'll go in and we'll edit this. So I'm going to go in and start to move some of these points. And I'm kind of doing it on the fly, but that's all right. And let's delete that one. And now I'm going to come in and let's take that and close the shape. So now I have a closed shape. Then I'm going to grab this one and continue to edit all these paths. And move this one, and this one. That one looks pretty good. And I'm going to pan over on this just so I can see what I'm doing here. And this one as well. Move that one over and this one over. That one looks nice and clean. And let's do this. That one looks clean. And we have our last one here. And that one looks pretty clean as well. So it really wasn't too bad with regards to cleaning that up. But now the issue is I need to resequence this in the order I actually want it to be created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of these objects right here, and I'm just going to grab this one, and I'm going to grab this one right to here, and make sure that they're all selected. And I'm going to change the color now. I'll change it back afterwards, but this way I have a new color here, and it's easier not to get the two kind of mixed up, because what I want to do is I want to do sort of the same thing where I'm starting with this one, that's number 1, and then I want this one here to be number 2. So I have to take that one, which is actually at the end, and move it up to the second position, which is right here. And then this one I could do next. So that one is going to be number 3. So I have to select that and move that up to the third option. So it's going to go right there. Then this one here is going to be number 4. So it's a little bit of a manual process where I'm coming in and I'm moving all these objects. Now I know this one's going to be last, so I could actually move that one right down to the end. And actually what might be easier is just go like that. So it's right at the end. So now here I have this one and this one here. Let me see, I had that one right there. So that one is there. So I'm going to move this one up right over to here. So now it goes here, here, and then it goes there. I want to move that one down a couple, right to there. And then I have this one, and I have this one. So I just want to make sure that I have all the orders correctly. That one I want to move down right there, I believe. So again, this kind of gets a little confusing, but I have to make sure that I follow through and I get all the pieces done in the order that I want them. Because if they aren't in the right order, then it's going to be a bit of an issue. So there's that one, and let's see, is that, where's this one? Okay, so this one here, and that one is right there, and this one is right there. So that 1, 2, 3, let's move that one up one. So now we have there, 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 and there. Okay, now that took way more energy and way more time. I'm already kind of way over what it took to do the last design. But now that it's done, I can come in and I can start to just grab these objects and very quickly, put my points on them, do the same thing, come to this object here. I need to make sure that I select it. I'm going to turn it into a satin, do this piece, and do that one. And then I can do the same thing where I'm going to hit that one key. Actually, no, I can't do that because it'll change the sequence. Here's where it gets a little bit different. And this is where we're going to use another tool that we developed. Because we're here, that's the object I did, I want to tell it to digitize after. And as soon as I do that, then I can put my point from here to here, and it will stay in the order. And then I can do this next piece, and it will be in the right order. So, oops, and I didn't want to do that. You can always undo. And I chose a fixed with seal. I wanted a satin stitch, so I'm going to put that one in. And then this one from here to here is pretty close. I'm going to just see if it will let me do that, and if it won't, put a trim in there. So let's hit that, and perfect, it joined. And now I'm going to grab that object. So let's select this one, and I'm going to tell this one to digitize after. Hit the number 1 button so that I have a run, and I'll run right into that next object. And then I'll grab this one, and I will continue to put my inclinations down. And then this one I have to do the same thing. I'm going to select that object, right click, and I'm going to digitize after, hit the number 1 so that I am choosing a run stitch, that's my traveling stitch, and then pick up to the next object. Now because I resequenced everything first, that saves a lot of time. Now from here to here is pretty close. I think that it's going to register without giving me a trim. So I'll give it a shot and see how it works. Yes, it did. And then this one is my last one, and I should be on the, getting close to the finish line here. So I'll just make sure that I come in, pan down, and put a couple of inclination points just like that. And there we go. Everything is entered. So there are my 2 pieces. And if I take these and let's move them to the center here, and then let's go to my little thing here where I'm going to collapse all, and I'm going to grab both of those, and I'm going to make them all one color. I'll just make them a green so that we can see them. And then I can grab each one kind of independently if I want. And let's just make myself a little laurel. And I'm going to do something like this. So I'm going to grab this one and make a little laurel and do something like this, where they're kind of going over top of each other. Now, and then let's just grab both of them and make sure that these are kind of like uniform. And this is where having your grid up will probably be, handy so that you can actually see if you're kind of the same on both sides. So that's actually looks a little bit better. Now, this doesn't look too bad, but if I look at how it redraws, there is some tiny little issues because it's going to do this object here, then it's doing that one, and it's going through, and then there's going to be a jump right here over to that object, and then it's going to keep going. Now I could at this point grab this object right here and tell it to digitize afterwards and do a connection to here, and it would fix my problem. I wouldn't have any jump, but it's still going to look a little bit strange when I get right to this point right here. You can see how that's going to look a little bit messy. It doesn't look 100% clean. And I could, come in and let's just go zoom out for a second. Let's come here, and I could try to line it up a little bit better, and maybe I'll do that. Let's just see if I can. So I'm going to grab this, and let's see if it grabs all the pieces without grabbing the one. No, I didn't want that one. So, but I could actually go in. Let's just do this. It grabbed that one extra piece, so I'll come in here and I'll make sure that we get rid of that one little piece right here. So now we have that one. Let's zoom in now, and I'm going to line this up so it's a little bit better on there, and that looks a little bit cleaner right there. Okay, so everything is lined up perfectly, but I'm still not happy about that trim. And to be honest, even if I did travel from here to here and get rid of that trim, it's not going to look super clean in that area right there. So we're going to do something a little different, think outside the box, and make that into one object without having to redigitize it. So here's what I would do to make this super clean, and it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to grab my two objects here and right here. So I'm going to control and grab just those two objects so I can see they're highlighted. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert them to artwork. So right now I've converted them to artwork, and because they are converted to artwork, now I have some options here where I can actually weld these together. And when I weld them together, I now have one piece, and I can come in here and I can now come in and look and edit these paths. So if I want to clean this up, I can come in. I could probably just delete that point. I could come in and delete this point, keeping in mind that these are, super, super small. But let's just grab that one. I'm going to make this one into a smooth. Actually, let's see if I can delete that point if there's still one there. And let's grab that one. And let's grab that handle. And I'm going to make that one into, let's try something different here. Symmetrical. There we go. That kind of made it nice and smooth. I have an extra point here. I'm going to delete that one, and that actually looks pretty clean. So there, I've cleaned up that object, and it's pretty much ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select that object, and I'm going to zoom out so I can see the entire thing, and I'm going to find out where that object is. It should be at the very bottom in the sewing order there because it's turned it into black. So now what I'm going to do is I know that right from this point here is the point that it's going over from. That's the last point, but there should be a point right from here. And if I can find it on my sequence, there it is right there, where I want to join to here. So all I'm going to do is grab that one piece there, and I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to say Digitize After, hit the number 1, and let's just put a traveling stitch right down here to this object here, hit enter. Now I've gotten rid of that object, and now all I'm going to do is come to this object here, which was the last one, and I'm going to make this smaller so you can see what I'm doing on screen here, because this is kind of cool. I'm just going to move this over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color to the same color that I have, so now they're all the same color, and I'm going to turn it into a satin stitch, and I'm just going to come in and put a few points down to kind of define the stitching like that. Hit enter, enter, and done. So now I've created a design that's a laurel that is actually pathed perfectly. I mean, if I turn the 3D on and if we, kind of do the playthrough. So what I'm trying to do, and actually let's get rid of those lines so you don't see the outlines, so you're not seeing the artwork anymore. But what I tried to do in this lesson is give you some basics. We're only using two stitch types, a running stitch and a satin stitch. And we created, we could have, to be honest, created the first one and mirrored it and not have to go through that whole thing that we did with creating the SVG file. But you pretty much probably came to the same conclusion that I did, that you'll want to make sure that in the future you would choose to maybe do it manually as opposed to using the artwork, but it can be done either way. But then this is the most important part, where we actually took those objects, and because they're object-based, we converted them to artwork. We're able to go in and weld those together, clean up the lines a little bit, make sure it fell in the sequence, use our, from this one area right over here where we had that leaf, I was able to do a traveling stitch that went all the way down to here. And then we were able to put that last object in, and the software, because of the smart join, joined it all up. And the beauty of this is a design that only has, one color stop. Now, if you don't like where it's stopping in the center right now, keep in mind you can go in and edit any of these objects. And that's the beauty of the software, is if I don't like there that stopping point is, I can move it somewhere else within the object and change it. Okay, if I don't like the way it's actually generating something, there we go, I fixed that. So this is really artwork that we are assigning stitches to. So now you want to make sure that you always save your JDX file, save your native file format, so that you can bring this in and make any changes that you want within the design. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to run the sample, and I'm 99% sure that it's going to run perfectly. No jumps and trims, and it's going to look great. So we'll see you next time. Inner Circle members, don't forget to download your lesson files below. Not a member yet? Join the Inner Circle and get access to exclusive bonuses, hands-on training, and everything you need to master embroidery digitizing. Click the link in the description to get started. Want to keep learning? Check out these tutorials next and take your embroidery skills even further.